I'm not really a huge fan of cringe, and I mostly skip over stuff like that cringy feminist gamer rap stuff that popped up, but I really feel the need to comment on this particular thing because not only was it a monumental shit show, but it was possibly one of the biggest backfires I have ever seen on the internet. So if you're playing a game on the internet and someone commits the horrific, unspeakable act of making fun of you, harassing you, then what really can you do? Who are you gonna call? The bully hunters.
Get the f*** back in the kitchen and take your goddamn hands off of fucking video games. Because you're a fat f***ing whore.
After I kill you, I'm gonna be a necro and rape your body.
It's amazing how they actually managed to get this information from 21 million different women and examine each and every individual case just to make sure that it genuinely was a case of sexual harassment, because it's not like that term gets used very usefully nowadays. But 21 million does sound very accurate. You know, that's not an inflated number at all.
As soon as they know you're a girl, they're just waiting for you to, like, screw up.
I am a bit scared sometimes to just kind of go on by myself.
Scared to go on by myself? It's a video game, not the park after midnight.
There are times where I've had to just quit a game. Like, in the middle of a match, I'm like, I can't do this.
Get good, scrub.
I'm kind of terrified of what I'm gonna have to face, really.
Terrified of mean comments on the internet. Terrified. Literally shaking. See if this is the type of effect that our memes and edgy comments have, boys. I think if we really applied ourselves, we could actually take over the fucking world. Not you.
Stupid bitch.
If you think harassment is just part of the game, we know who you are. We know what you play. And we are coming for you. This is not a game.
We are anonymous. We never forgive ye. We never forget ye. Now get back in the kitchen and make me my tendies. It is a little bit worrying that these guys are using a symbol that looks exactly like the same one the Zodiac Killer used, but all of that aside, watching this pile of cringe, which was clearly ripped from the style of Watch Dogs 2, you have to ask yourself, who are the bully hunters? And this all got explained in an article by PC Gamer. Elite women gamers team up to destroy online bullies and abusers in CSGO. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the bully hunters. Don't you dare use an A-Team reference. The Time's Up movement that caught fire in the wake of #MeToo and allegations of sexual misconduct against notorious Hollywood scumbag Harvey Weinstein has now made its way to video games, in a distinctly gamer-esque fashion. Yes, because having mean things said to you online is the exact same thing as decades of literal physical sexual assault. Beginning on April 12th, a self-styled A-team of elite female gamers calling themselves the Bully Hunters will offer their services to victims of harassment and bullying in CSGO by infiltrating games and beating down offenders through the sheer force of their unmatched skill. So that's their plan. They're going to join the exact same games of people who have been reported for harassment with the intent of beating them at the game. Which is what you're supposed to do in a game. Like, you really are doing nothing special. You are joining a game with the intent of winning. That is what you're supposed to do in a game. The time for harassment in CSGO is finally up, the group said in an announcement. You chose CSGO, a dying game that is populated by no one except angry Russians.
Oh, shit.
Terrorists win.
A collective of gamers, brands and organisations have teamed up to create a first-of-its-kind global tool that connects victims of in-game harassment with gamers who want to help, called the Bully Hunters. The Bully Hunters are a vigilante hit squad of elite female gamers who have banded together to end sexual harassment and abuse in the popular game CSGO. Vigilante Hit Squad is a fucking video game. You would only be really considered a vigilante hit squad if you were actually tracking these harassers down to their address, breaking into their house, and putting two right in the back of their head, Clinton style. The campaign is backed by some high-profile supporters, including Twitch streamer Zombie Unicorn, a spokesperson for the campaign, as well as SteelSeries, Vertigear, Cyberpower PC, the Diverse Gaming Coalition... The Diverse Gaming Coalition. That's... We've got enough fucking pointless organisations. And the National Organisation for Women. The members themselves have chosen to remain anonymous, however, in order to avoid the ironic but entirely too predictable likelihood of harassment and abuse. Although a rep said optimistically, I think that team members will do their best to keep the heat on the field. At least they knew exactly what was going to happen to them. They're learning. The Bully Hunters are prepared for the possibility of retaliation and are putting measures in place to combat that. They will not purposely incite or encourage additional harassment or abuse, even though they just acknowledged that their very existence and actions would do exactly that, and will only engage with harassers through gameplay, eliminating them from the game using their skills and talent. A rep explained, additionally, there will be a rating system within the global tool which will allow both hunters and victims to rate their experiences, therefore reducing the chances of trolls infiltrating the system. Yeah. That won't work. Dunking on online jerks is great, but the real point of the exercise is drawing attention to the problem of sexism and abuse online. The Bully Hunters claim that more than 21 million female gamers have reported in-game sexual harassment, including extreme threats of sexual violence and death, and while that number is an estimate, you don't say. The prevalence of abuse obviously is not, yet all too often it's brushed off as mere trash talk, inevitable but harmless. 99.9% of the time that actually is the case, because in the entire history of CSGO there has not been one single reported case of a woman actually being sexually assaulted over a game of CSGO, but don't take their victimhood away from them. The Bully Hunters hope that through more conversation, fewer online gamers will tolerate this behaviour and work to put an end to it. They are also calling on software companies to take action to no longer tolerate sexual harassment and discrimination in their games, the rep said. Oh, gaming companies are in fact doing that. Some of them are even actually going the extra mile of actually watching your behaviour outside of the fucking game. Big Brother is overwatching you. The Bully Hunters is meant to be a long-term initiative, and they're looking to expand their presence beyond CSGO, although which games they may move into next is still being decided. Naturally, they are also looking to grow their numbers. Sign-ups will be taken at the Bully Hunters website, but they were clear that they won't take just anyone. To become a Bully Hunter, a gamer's statistics will be evaluated to ensure they can compete at a high level to eliminate harassers, the rep said, without delving into exactly what statistics will be examined or how. Additionally, their history of play will be reviewed to ensure they haven't been reported for any type of in-game harassment with other players. So what this means that in order for anyone to actually join the Bully Hunters, they are going to be assessed solely on their skills and merits. And if their skills and merits aren't at a high enough level, then it means they will be rejected from the Bully Hunters and they won't be allowed to join and take part. That doesn't sound very inclusive, and that also sounds a hell of a lot like meritocracy. I thought you guys didn't like meritocracy. One of the people that was pioneering this was a Twitch streamer called Zombie Unicorn. Now, if we could all just bow our heads and close our eyes and prepare ourselves for a 1-minute silence, in remembrance of all of those poor souls who didn't make it out of the scene phase. I would absolutely love to do a reply to the entire video that she actually made promoting this event. Unfortunately, she said publicly on Twitter that she is more than happy to abuse the DMCA system to false flag down videos for using her likeness, even though that is pretty much just a cop-out to prevent people from criticising her. And it would be a little bit of a risk to actually do a video about her because YouTube obviously aren't very happy with me right now. They have demonetised every single video on my channel, and even though I hit 100k months ago, they've been fobbing me off all that time anytime that I've asked for my plaque. So even though her DMCA would be completely 100% false, we all know YouTube is biased as hell, so they're going to support the person whose views align with theirs. So what I'm going to do instead is just use a few clips from her video that I really want to address, just so that I can be on the safe side. And these clips that I'm using are completely under fair use, they are transformative, and they are for the purpose of critiquing the points that she made specifically in these clips.
Like, yeah, we have the tools to just block and report somebody and move on if they're harassing us. But does it fix the problem?
Yes. Yes, it does. It takes less than a fucking second, and every single online platform has that feature. And if the person makes a new account, just block that one too, and just keep doing that. And eventually they give up. They always do. I just don't think we should bring in these really, really overreaching rules and regulations that most likely would end up punishing innocent players just because someone's too lazy to press the fucking block button.
It doesn't matter what kind of harassment it is. Harassment is bad across the board. But the reason we're focusing on women being harassed is because sexual harassment is the biggest issue that women face in gaming. Women are harassed more often sexually than any other group.
That actually doesn't at all answer the question as to why you're mainly focusing on women, but we don't need you to answer it. We already know why. Men get a lot of harassment online too. For example, I myself actually get sent death threats and threats of violence from people who actually do turn up at our events and try and do that to us in the real world. And I think that's a lot more severe than a woman playing a match of CSGO and someone says, "Sho Boban Vagin suka bliet."
And it's the biggest part of the problem pie. We're gonna take that slice out. If we can put a little dent in that problem pie, try to make everybody act more decently and try to get people to be more accountable and stop acting like shitheads to each other, then we can affect the whole problem pie. If we can help this problem just a little bit, it'll help everyone.
Stopping people from being mean to each other on the internet is a completely unachievable goal. Just the same as stopping people in the real world from being mean to each other is a completely unachievable goal. There is only one thing that could actually fix those problems, and it's called authoritarian rule. So the Bully Hunters thing went public and it started a little bit of a shit show. A lot of people in the public were actually pointing out problems they seen with the movement and also addressing criticisms and asking a lot of questions towards the Bully Hunters. And the Bully Hunters made the very, very smart move of branding these valid criticisms as harassment. The main thing that really stuck out to me though was the way that Natty handled people on Twitter, simply asking for more information. 3 million women have stopped playing games altogether because of harassment. While you and I might have thick skin, that doesn't mean that everyone does, nor should anyone belittle the cause. Sexual harassment is a serious issue. It's never okay. If we progress when we stand up for what's right. Hi there, is there a source for this figure? I tried searching for the study, but I couldn't find it. Thank you. Yup, watch the stream today to find out more. I am inundated with work and don't have time to watch. Can you tell me the name of the study or the name of someone at the event who knows more about the study, so I can discuss it with them? You can watch the VOD then. Yeah, you go, Natty. Don't actually back up any of the things you're saying with any facts, evidence or sources. Instead, just tell people to go and watch the VOD, even though there's no guarantee that any of their questions will actually be answered, just so that you can get that sweet, sweet ad revenue. I'm going to take that as a no then. I am a mental health researcher. Do you have any idea of the dangers of spreading false, hyperbolized data with a follower base of your size? It perpetuates the idea of problems as being insurmountable and stands in the way of developing evidence-based interventions. You are not doing my profession any favours, and I would kindly ask you to source your claims before making them. Thank you. All people were asking for was a source. She wanted to state these things as facts, so people had every right to ask for her evidence. That's not too much to ask. She was saying all of these facts and figures, which means obviously she's seen the evidence supporting these facts and figures, because who in this current day and age would just simply spout numbers out there without actually seeing the evidence first? So obviously she must have seen it herself, because no one in this day and age would do such a thing. So we just wanted her to share it with us. But when people did ask for evidence, she simply refused and said that she's not dealing with anyone who would just throw insults at her, even though there was no evidence whatsoever of this person throwing insults at her. Potentially strong allies don't degrade and name-call someone standing up for a good cause, simply because they said the licensed psychologist will better explain and discuss this data and topic than them. Mental health researcher insulting and defaming someone standing up to harassment. You need a psychologist to post a link. I thought as a streamer you would know how to computer. Just you wait until my psychologist gets here. He can copy and paste like a motherfucker. Worth every penny. So Natty ended up blocking almost everyone that was involved in the conversation and went on to do the live stream, and the chat for the entire live stream looked exactly as you would expect. And so the stream started, and a lot of people were watching it, drinking in all the information in the stream and also noticing the tiny little details in certain parts of the stream that didn't really add up. Started to make people think. And then what happened was people realised that some of these details didn't really match up. And when that happened, the internet collective of weaponised autism kicked into top gear. Mr. Metaker's Twitter was actually a really good source for all the happenings and things that get noticed during the stream. Now, I really fucking hate cringe, and that brave man could do what I couldn't and actually managed to watch the entire fucking thing. Which, after all the fucking fuss, only lasted for about 45 minutes. And I seriously hope that you guys haven't had your dinner, because this is where things get tasty. First we can look at those infamous figures that we were given by Zombie Unicorn and also the very first video. Remember our mental health researcher from earlier? Well, she decided to do her job and actually start doing some research. Update. The figure seems to come from projections of an online survey from 2012 of 874 participants, extrapolated to every console-owning woman in the US. This is awful data science and taking advantage of mental health for profit. This means that 3 million women were not harassed out of gaming. 84 women, very unfortunately, felt unwelcome in online gaming, and this was extrapolated to every console-owning woman in America. The source I was told to tune in for doesn't exist. Another thing that people noticed was the people that were actually involved in the matches. Whenever a victim got bullied, they would call in a bully hunter. But you know how on Steam, whenever you change your name, you actually have a history of pretty much every name you've ever had while you've got a Steam account? Well, people actually managed to look into these people's Steam profiles and saw that the name of the victim also matched the name of the bully hunter that got called in. So it turns out that the victims and the bully hunters were the same person. The matches were all fucking fake. Another thing that the bully hunters did was the Twitter account that they linked on their official website didn't actually go to their own official bully hunters account. It went to a completely different person who just had an extremely similar Twitter name, which means that a lot of the hate and harassment that was meant for the bully hunters went to a completely different person. So you know how harassment is the thing that you guys are actually supposed to try and prevent? Well, your mistake actually led a lot of harassment getting sent to this completely random person. And who was this completely random person? A male survivor of rape. Also, remember the famous psychologist that we brought up earlier? The one that's damn good at copy-pasting? Well, it turns out he isn't really a behavioural psychologist or has a degree in gender studies, and definitely not one in data science at all. He works with people who have diabetes. And the best thing of all was our oh-so-noble Natty, the pioneer of women's safety, the virtuous angel that planned to save women all around the gaming world from abuse and harassment online. Do you remember this, Natty?
Such faggots.
Oh, you died again?
Yep. Because these faggots are just gonna chase me around.
Oh dear. Now why would these guys go through all of this trouble to fake victims, fake bully hunters, fake matches, and stir up all of this controversy all over this stupid thing? Why would they do it? Well, controversy is very good for marketing. So what was being marketed here? Did you miss it? You probably realised if you watched the stream. There was also a little hint in the very first video that we showed.
This is not a game.
Headsets. The entire thing was to sell fucking headsets.
And you can find the tool at bullyhunters.org. And again, it's a tool available to everyone around the globe that we provide as a group of pro gamers. SteelSeries, Vertigear, Now, Cyberpower PC, and Diverse Gaming Coalition, to name just a few. Experiencing harassment in any game, there's a Bully Hunter field guide. Now, this will help every gamer fight against sexual harassment in gaming. And you will find a field guide with every special edition headset.
This is the field guide, by the way. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of interesting stuff in here.
Headsets. This entire pile of fucking fakery was to sell fucking headsets. No bullies were stopped, the data was fake, everything right up to the fucking matches themselves were faked, and a lot of images and reputations have been absolutely destroyed in the process, and lots of people who were involved with this entire scam are now all running for the fucking hills just to sell fucking headsets. I do take back everything that I said. See, when I said that this entire thing was going to be cringy and boring and all that shit, it wasn't. I have been thoroughly entertained.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.
Fucking right in the funny bone.